moment of practice. I'm going to start on my hands and knees. So first, finding just how everything's feeling. I like to sometimes just walk hands and knees around on the mat, or maybe you're on a carpet, a towel, whatever you're practicing on, taking a moment for yourself on. So I'm going to start with some arm raises and letting the hips move with the torso. And so knees can be as wide as you need for that. I'm going to take my right arm out and up to the right, hold for a full breath, in and out. And then release down and get my bearings a little bit and switch sides. All right, now I'm going to rock back toward child's pose and forward. And notice here what is needed. So when I rock back, I'm going to lift my wrists up and find my finger pads, drop the head down. And then when I come forward, I'm going to round into it, put all of my load into my palms and rock forward past my wrists, kind of like coming into an up dog or something. And so you can move faster with that. Good, now I'm going to take a thread the needle. So after that warm up, I'm going to take my right arm back up into the air and then slowly weave it under the left arm, keeping my knees where they're at and my hips moving up and back as I drop head and shoulder down. So then I like to take the other arm, so for me it's my left arm, and just crawl it out. And then once I've found that, play with how you might be positioning your pelvis and your hips so you can adjust accordingly. Reach the right arm out and the left arm out. Maybe press your head down. Maybe press your knees down. And then slide that extended left arm closer to you to press into the ground and come up from there. Then I'm going to lean into my left hand and left knee for a side plank variation. So I'm going to keep my right leg in the same line with my left arm and left knee and use the ground to open up. So you find your own rhythm to your breath, but you get a chance to just get quiet and pay attention for a moment. Coming back to table, I'm going to go right into thread the needle on the other side. So I'm going to take my left arm up into the air and then slowly weave it under. And as I weave that left arm under the right, dropping left shoulder down, head down, reaching right arm forward, and then checking in with my hips and adjusting. And then it's up to you how much you're going to press down and where in your body you're pressing into the ground and where you're going to reach. And then move your right hand closer to your face to use the ground and press back up. And then lean into your right hand, right knee for side plank. And I'm going to use my left leg against the ground too to help support this opening position. Releasing back to center. I'm going to take a moment to stand up on my knees. So I'm recording this during Libra season. It's the first cycle of the autumn season, so we'll have 3 months of autumn. And where I am located, that's where we're at, in the northern hemisphere. And so the energy is Libra, and that's an air sign, and it's associated with kidneys, the low back, back of pelvis area. So if you think of the symbolism, it's the scales, and so I'm thinking of both sides of the back, you know, both kidneys. And even though, you know, I'm recording this and moving with this Libran feeling and sensation in my body, doesn't mean that you only have to do these things during Libra season or when the moon is in Libra or whatever. It's just a template. It's a way for you to, you know, be connected to nature and be connected to yourself. And if you logged on to YouTube or whatever and you're seeing, oh, I'm going to do this one because it's this many minutes long, and she's written in the intro that these are the poses. Great. Don't worry about me talking about Libra, right? Okay, so I just want to put that out there. I'm going to take my hands to my low back and press the heel of my palm against the back of the pelvis, and then kind of jut the hips forward a little bit for the extension of the spine. Squeeze the elbows back toward one another. Find a comfortable place for the head. Take a full breath. And then round, I'm going to come right into cat pose, planting the hands, rounding back, tucking the chin and the hips under. Now releasing, I'm going to stand back up on my knees, but now try to keep energy here at my center in the core and work from my knees and thighs to lean back. I'm going to do this a couple times. I'm not going very far today. That's where I'm at today. I did a harder workout yesterday. And so today is a day for me to move a little slower. And so maybe you're the opposite. All right, from here I'm going to come to back to table and step my left foot out to the left, and then heel toe the left foot up in front of my body, but keep my hands on the inside of the knee. So I'm going to rock back and forth in this lunge and allow for some movement through my legs and my feet as well. So when I rock back, I'm letting my front foot come away from the ground and trying to aim for a little bit of stretch in the back of that leg. And then when I come forward and put more load into my fingertips, I'm going to let that back leg bend and feel a little more stretch in my upper part of the leg, front side of the body. So this is just an idea. Some of you might have props around that you could use, and maybe you want to hold still in it. From here, coming upright within the lunge. And so you might want to kind of heel toe that front foot around to where you feel like you can have a little more balance in your shape and in how you're working today in all of your systems. I'm going to open my arms out to the sides, cactus arms, elbows bent. I'm just going to start to warm up the spine a little bit. So I'm going to pulse a little bit away from the knee. So I'm going to the right now. And then I'm going to go to the other side, come back to center and pulse a little bit to the left. Good. Now I'm going to see if it's possible to reach back behind and just kind of grab near your back of the pelvis sacrum area, the base of the spine, and do a little lean back. If you're trying this and you're like, okay, I've got it today, I'm going to anchor through both the front foot and the back knee, you might be able to reach back and just tap your back calf. Come up, switch, go to the other side, maybe check in first, and then tap. And so then if you want to, you could go with it a little faster. This is just to move energy. All right, now holding steady here, and again anchoring, I have my right knee pressing down, my left foot pressing down, palms together, and I'm going to twist to the outside of your front leg. So my left knee is forward, so that means I'm going to twist to the left, and my right elbow is going to hook on the outside of that left knee. Find your moment of attention and breath. And then release. From here, hands down. You can bring the hands back to the inside of the knee. I'm going to sweep that left leg back behind, and you can move right into a child's pose. I'm going to take a moment to sweep it back behind, lower to my elbows, and just take a diagonal reach through that back leg. And then come back to center. Then maybe a child's pose, a down dog, something like that, where you can just kind of reset through all corners of your body and your mind. And I'm not saying that these shapes, child's pose or down dog, are resting poses. For me, they tend to be shapes that are good transitional poses, right? Ones that you can come to and kind of clear out before you take the next side. So I'm going to step right foot to the right and then slowly walk that right foot forward. So your foot is up in front of you, your arms are on the inside, and you start your lunge pulses again. So maybe it's just the hips that are pulsing back and forth, but maybe you add the extra layer with the rocking back and the front foot comes up, and then the rocking forward and your back knee comes up. When you're ready, come upright. You might need to again wiggle around your front foot so you feel steady and able to balance here. I'm going to start with the twists. Okay, so you do a few little pulses to each side. And then I'm going to do the little tap backs. All right, check in, and then we're going to twist. So I have my right knee forward this time, palms together. I'm going to twist to the right and try to hook left elbow outside of the right knee thigh area. And I'm going to use the ground through my back knee, my front foot, and use elbow and knee working together to just isolate and connect in. Okay, from here I'm going to let go. Bring both hands to the inside of the knee. Sweep that right leg back. And again, you could go right into down dog or child's pose. I'm going to keep reaching that leg back diagonal lower to my elbows. And just get a moment of stretch and reach. And just take your time now to transition. Because next I'm going to lower to my stomach, come upright and find the prone position. All right, so once you've found your position here, I'm going to suggest coming up onto your elbows, sphinx, and taking a moment again for a little lateral flexion of the spine, a little twist. I'm going to take my left hand out to the left, anchor through right elbow and left fingertips to look over the shoulder and take a moment. A lot of the movements that I'm sharing in this template of practice are movements that I do regularly. But you know, sometimes they're just linked together in different ways. There are so many formations and sequences, and that's part of the creativity that comes through a movement practice, whether it's yoga or anything else. All right, from Sphinx, I'm going to slowly lower down. I'm going to sweep my arms back behind, palms down, head down, and just try lifting one leg at a time. My knee bent there just a little bit. Maybe your knee needs to bend too. Maybe each time you lift the leg, your leg will get a little bit stronger in the connection to the low back. I personally am having a situation going on in my back SI joint area, so you don't necessarily want to watch me doing it because I'm working on healing that area a little bit. So for you, for your body, it's going to look different than mine. And then if you would like to add some locust pose, you could go ahead and find that here. So I'm going to flip my palms over, reach the arms out to the side with some energy, and then anchor through the front of the pelvis to lift both ends of the body up. Anchor through the ground. And then release into the ground. I'm going to try that one more time. Anchoring, reaching. And then letting go. Now in the letting go, I'm going to start to let the knees bend one at a time and just kick the legs back and forth. From here, I'm going to take a scorpion twist, Okay, so I'm going to extend my left arm straight out to the side, you know, like the letter T, palm down. I'm going to take my right arm out to the right, but find the claw hand and lift my head up. Okay, so from here, now that brings some anchoring, so you can roll into your left shoulder, left hip, drop your head down, knees move with you. The right knee might come up like mine is doing, and you can use the ground however you need to find the sensation. The sensation that suits you for the day, then roll back to center. And I'm going to go right into the other side, reaching my right arm out to the right, bending left elbow, rolling in. Coming back through center, I'm going to find my way up to Sphinx, but keep my knees bent now. So I'm back propped up on my elbows. And now I want to try to anchor the quads, you know, your thighs, down into the ground. And in doing that, the front of your pelvis and maybe your belly button lifts up away from the ground just a little bit. And see if you want to hold that while you drop your knees to the side. And then keep anchoring through your thighs and your elbows and switch sides. So going back and forth. You might release like as you're transitioning. So I just did that, where I let go through the stomach as my feet are switching to the other side, and then press down again. So there are so many ways you could tap into this. And then the other thing I've been doing is allowing the legs to move in circles while exploring this movement. And you know, it's kind of helpful that I'm dealing with a type of injury, some pain in my low back right now. I mean, I'm not enjoying it, but for this to be the moment of time that I'm focusing on this region of the body, it's opened up these new avenues for me to stay curious about, right? Like, what's going on for me there? And what can I try in my movement and in my practice to pay attention to, both on and off the mat, right? I mean, I could do this for a really long time. So I'm going to stop now and curl the toes under. Try to press the feet. So see what I'm doing here? I'm just kind of crawling the hips and the feet. I'm not moving anywhere, right? I'm still anchored through my elbows, but I'm finding that hook and energy from the toes and the ball of the feet to the pelvis. All right, last thing here that I've been really into, and you know, I did this earlier in the year. So some of you who've been watching these might remember this. From Sphinx, we're going to take left knee up to the left. This is just one of my favorite things to do now. So it's kind of a half frog pose. I'm going to take my left arm forward, so left knee is bent, left arm is forward. Use the ground, back to that thread the needle feeling, weave the right arm under, drop your head, and then open up into your reclined twist. So that top left arm and left side of your chest is going to spiral open with you. Allow your left knee to move away from the ground as needed, and then try to get wiggle your shoulders out from under you and get yourself into your twist. Now observe what it's like to be here now. Eventually take that left arm and float it back up to the sky, and then very slowly begin to release it, and your left knee as well, back to the ground. Good. I'm going to use that left hand to the floor to press back up to Sphinx. Then slide that left leg back. Take a moment of just kind of moving some stuff out. You might do the anchoring through the elbows, anchoring through the toes. And release. And let's do the other side. So I'm going to take that right knee out to the right, half frog position. Right arm moves away so you find room for the left arm to weave under. Then let the right arm float up into the air. Your head is relaxed down, arms open. Okay? And so once here, you get to decide where your outer knee is positioned, how your shoulders are positioned. And let's stay and observe on this side. Begin process of taking that right arm up into the air and then allowing gravity to move you out of the shape back to the floor. Use your right hand to press up to your elbows, sweep your right leg back behind you, and give yourself time to adjust. From here, I'm going to curl the toes under, lower the chest, and move the hands back next to the ribs. And I'm going to try pressing straight up to a push-up plank position from there. Okay? And then take your downward dog. And maybe you pushed up to plank using your knees. There are so many ways that you can move. I'm going to start to walk hands and feet to one another. And then squat down if possible. So if you have a chair or something, you could even put your hands on a chair or on your couch and stay right here, right? If you want to come into your squat, you can. I learned this from my mindful strength teachers. We did this in Kyle's class the other day. So then from your squat, rolling up. chin, last thing to come up. And then you might roll back down. So I'm letting my knees bend as I roll down, and then you can come right into your squat. Maybe a little lift of the chest, and then roll back down. So instead of rolling all the way up from here, I'm just going to stay for a moment in this forward fold. You might step your feet a little wider. You might use blocks, or again be up on a chair with your hands. Just take a moment to scan up the back of the leg, to the back of the pelvis, down the spine, through the head, back through the feet. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to come to our seat. So however you want to transition down to your seat. I'm going to take a wide leg straddle. Wide leg straddle. Sit upright as best you can. Anchor through your heels. Notice the lines of sensation from the feet to the hips. Then take your hands behind your legs and let your feet flop. You let go. You might need to do this just to ask your legs to let go. Right? Just noticing. That's it for a moment. And then going to take one more lateral side bend. Hand down one leg, doesn't matter which leg right now. You can place your elbow somewhere. Back arm can just kind of hang out behind you, or if you need to, use the floor in front of you. Explore how your head is positioned. One more moment. Use the floor to press yourself upright. Pause at center. And then transition to the other side. Again, you can have the arm behind your back if you prefer, or you could have that outer arm using the ground. Use your hand to the floor to help you come upright. Pause at center. And now we're going to transition onto our backs. To get there, I'm going to lean back onto the fingertips, gradually slide the legs in until you can bend the knees, plant the feet, lift your hips for a moment. You might come all the way up into a reverse table. You might just come here and do a little swaying. You can drop your hips down and sway. Now I'm going to roll down to the back. Wiggle the shoulders out. Find the back of your head steady. find your feet about hip distance apart, and where your arms are long next to you, maybe the fingertips can just graze the heels somewhere, right? Somewhere. It doesn't matter so much how wide the feet are, but then you find that pressing down action through the feet, the shoulders, the back of the head. Wiggle out more and come into your hip bridge. Lower slowly. Release the back of the pelvis, shoulders. You might have one more hip bridge in you, but I'm just going to go right into now my rest. I'm going to heel toe the feet out wide, so my heels move out to the edges of my mat and my knees fall in to one another. And then I'm going to wiggle out my back even more. Now I'm going to place one palm, the heel of the palm in particular, to the eyebrow point at the forehead, the other palm to the upper stomach region, so just in between the ribs there. And perhaps you allow this to be your check-in moment after what we've just done. And at some point your arms will release. And you can decide if you want both hands on your ribs or on your hip points. Maybe you want both hands out to the side. Now notice your right ear, and from your right ear, try to just visualize moving inside your head. Honoring all that you are in this moment, scanning down the right side of the neck, the right shoulder, into your right ribs, to your right kidney, right side of your hip. From there, just go directly over to the left side of your hip. Left kidney, through your stomach area to your left side ribs. Left shoulder area. Up into your left side of your neck, into the left side of your head, your brain, honoring all that you are in this current moment, moving back out your left ear. And this might sound cheesy, but now try smiling. Even if you just keep your mouth closed and you let the corners of your mouth turn up ever so slightly. Take one more breath. And then you might begin to open your eyes, blink them open, move your lower half of the body, wiggle your fingers, begin the process of waking up. And I hope that this was useful. Perhaps you add on to it, make it your own. Have a beautiful rest of this month, and I will see you for some Scorpio season movement next.